The political obituary's already being written. Today, the final polls are in for Kentucky's 4th Congressional District, and they show something that was virtually unthinkable just a few months ago. The 7-term Congressman Thomas Massie, a self-styled libertarian constitutionalist rebel, is losing. Not barely losing, not squeaking by, losing. And if you've been watching this channel, you know this has been a long time coming. Stick them to the very end of this video because we're going to break down exactly what the numbers say, exactly why this matters, and exactly why the people of Kentucky are about to send a message to every rhino and, yes, every so-called constitutionalist that gets in the way of MAGA, double-cross President Trump at your own peril. Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your Patriot Professor, enjoying yet another glorious day in the Trumpian golden age that you made possible back in November of 2024. So if you want a front row seat as we continue to change the world in ways you never even imagined, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. Also, if you sense that something is deeply wrong with the culture, that's because, well, you're awake. You deserve a daily briefing that treats you that way. Patriot Alerts is my free newsletter that connects the dots between everything happening in our world, and it shows you the pattern of civilizational renewal that the media will never report. It takes just 2 minutes a day, and it will change how you see everything. Scan the QR code now and join my Patriot Alerts for absolutely free. All right, gang, let's dive right in here. Today's the day. It's primary day in Kentucky's 4th Congressional District, and this is the moment that millions of MAGA voters across the country have been waiting for. Because today, Thomas Massie, who's arguably done more to sabotage the America First agenda from inside the Republican Party than almost any Democrat has done from outside it, faces a reckoning delivered by the voters, a reckoning delivered by the very people who believe that Thomas Massie has repeatedly, brazenly, and arrogantly abandoned them. And the final polls, they say he's going down. Let's start with the raw numbers because they're pretty brutal. The final Gray House poll conducted May 16th through 17th, just 2 days ago, shows Trump-backed Navy SEAL veteran Ed Galrine leading Massie 51-44 with 5% undecided. It's a 7-point advantage for Galrine going into Election Day. But it gets even worse. When you dig into the crosstabs, the numbers absolutely demolish any illusion Massie might have that his so-called independent brand can save him. Self-identified MAGA voters make up a whopping 60% of the primary electorate in Kentucky's 4th. And among those voters, Galrine leads Massie 59-33. The latest Social Strategies poll is showing a similar picture. It has Galrine at 49 and Massie at 42. And that's not all. Quantus Insights, one of the more accurate pollsters of 2024, has the race with Galrine at 53%, Massie at 45%. So we're seeing a pretty consistent 7 to 8 point spread there. Now, keep in mind, just a couple of weeks ago, Quantus Insights had the race tied. So there's been a clear breakaway for Galrine over the last several days. Quantus Insights has found that the remaining undecided voters, they've been breaking for Galrine by more than 2 to 1. That means the late momentum, the undecideds, the new voters entering the race, they're all breaking away from Massie. That's the signature of a campaign in decline, in free fall. And the betting markets notice this too. As of this morning, Polymarket has Galrine at 62% chance of winning to Massie's 37%. And critically, Massie was still leading the betting markets as recently as this past Saturday evening before the Cassidy result came in from Louisiana. Bill Cassidy coming in third in his primaries. That completely shifted the momentum. Within 24 hours of Bill Cassidy making history, being the first incumbent Republican senatorial candidate coming in third in his primary, the smart money in Kentucky flipped from Massie to Galrine. People obviously are reading the room here. Now, Keep in mind, Massie, as I understand it, has always been a relatively controversial figure within Kentucky's 4th Congressional District. He rarely won his past primaries by more than 70% of the vote, which means that he is a contested figure. He never had unanimous support among Kentucky Republicans. And as it turns out, it's for good reason. Massie has repeatedly voted against key features of the MAGA agenda. He voted against the One Big Beautiful Bill. That's Trump's signature domestic legislation. The entire MAGA economic agenda, tax cuts, border security, energy dominance, all of it in one big package. And Massie was one of only 2 Republicans in the entire House of Representatives out of 220 Republican members to vote no. Had that legislation lost in the House, that would have been politically devastating for Trump and the MAGA movement. So Massie can repeat, but the Constitution, till he's blue in the face. His constitutional fundamentalism almost cost Trump and the MAGA movement everything. And to add insult to injury, he voted against the One Big Beautiful Bill twice in both its House version and the final Senate version. He voted against the government funding continuing resolution in March of 2025, becoming the sole Republican to cross Trump on that vote, which nearly threatened a government shutdown. He voted with AOC in that. He actually voted against the SAVE Act. Trump's voter ID proof of citizenship bill back in February, again, breaking with his party. In each case, Massie cited this radical, fundamentalist, libertarian constitutional objections, which just so happened to translate into fundraising letters to the broader national libertarian movement that has very little to do with Kentucky's 4th Congressional District. But Massie's obstructionism goes way beyond his fringe ideology. There's something more that Massie fixated on that made him public enemy number 1 for President Trump. And that is what may ultimately sink him as of today. What you're seeing right now isn't just another economic cycle. It's a fundamental shift in how the global system is operating. You got central banks buying gold at record levels, de-dollarization accelerating, and markets reacting to geopolitical instability almost in real time. So the signals are there. People see it. But here's the interesting part. Most haven't actually changed anything. They're still in the same position, still fully exposed to the system. They're watching shift. And that's usually where the mistake happens. Not because people don't understand what's going on, but because they assume they've got more time. And historically, that's not how this plays out. So what we're seeing now is more people starting to reposition, not everything, just a portion. And for a lot of them, that means moving into physical gold. Some are doing that directly, just buying gold and holding it. Others are doing it through their retirement accounts, moving part of an IRA or 401k into a gold IRA. That's exactly how I came across Augusta Precious Metals. I wanted to understand how this works in practice. And after looking into it, I'm confident they're the best at what they do. They walk you through everything, step by step, answer your questions, and help you figure out if it actually makes sense for you. There's no pressure around it. If you want to look into it, go to turleybuysgold.com or text Turley to 35052 to get Augusta's free gold IRA guide. That's turleybuysgold.com or text Turley to 35052. Because in a moment like this, it's not just about seeing the shift. It's about whether you actually respond to it. Nothing has provoked Trump's ire more than Massie's incessant obsession with the Epstein files. Massie spent months pushing to release the Jeffrey Epstein files, making common cause with the most extreme conspiratorial fringes on the internet, particularly far left fringes, in an effort to throw the Republican caucus into chaos at the most critical moment of Trump's second term. And again, regardless of what you think about Epstein, that's the key to why President Trump and so many MAGA faithful are so upset with Massie. He deliberately used the Epstein files with the Democrats to politically damage President Trump. That's the key. How on earth can you vote for Trump and the MAGA movement and then turn around and support a guy who's done more political damage to Trump than any Democrat? It's not the files themselves. It's the way Massie exploited the files side by side with radical leftist woke Democrats to deliberately try to hurt President Trump. Case in point, look who's championing Tom Massie as of today. It's both the New York Times and the ultra-radical Democrat Ro Khanna. They love him because he magnifies their TDS. He magnifies their assaults on Trump and the MAGA movement. Again, for me, this is the key to making sense of all of this. You can harp all you want on Massie's supposed loyalty to constitutional principles. He appears to be the inheritor of Ron Paul's mantle. I mean, you could say that that's what sets him apart, his constitutional fidelity. But strategically, not ideologically, strategically, he ends up being no different than the Democrats. And you have to be willing, I think, to admit that if you're a supporter of Massie. Ideologically, he may be set apart for his constitutional fidelity, but strategically, he aligns with the very party that wants to destroy the Constitution. He is at one with the very party that wants to destroy the Constitution he supposedly reveres. And that, to me, is what Tom Massie supporters, the ones I've talked to, are just blind to. Apparently so. Again, appeal all you want to his supposed constitutional fidelity. Strategically, he's no different than the party that wants to destroy the Constitution and thus undermines that fidelity every step of the way. In the end, Tom Massie's so-called principled independence is too often in service of just bizarre and fringe and dubious causes that are ultimately self-defeating. For example, he recently defended his record by saying this.
So, Congressman, in the last 2 weeks, you repeated AOC's talking points on Venezuela, and Jasmine Crockett has retweeted you. When will you change your party affiliation to Democrat?
I thought you knew. I vote with Republicans 91% of the time.
And
the 9% I don't, they're taken up for pedophiles, starting another war, or bankrupting our country.
Now, to me, what's so fascinating there is that Tom Massie loyalists, those who support him, thought that was a great response. I saw that all over the internet yesterday. I voted with the Republicans 91% of the time, and the 9% that I don't, they're protecting pedophiles, starting another war, bankrupting our country. And Tom Massie supporters thought that was a burn. That was a great response. Let me help you here. Let me try. Because I'm willing to, I know people, I respect so many people who love Tom Massie. But what they don't seem to see is that his strategy undermines his ideology. They don't see that contradiction. And again, notice you see it surface in that response. So, let me get this straight, Representative Massie. So, you say you just told us you vote 91% of the time for a party that protects pedophiles. That's what you just said, isn't it? That is the entailment of what you just said. You vote 91% of the time for a party that protects pedophiles and wants to bankrupt the country. You're cool with them unless you love hanging out with them, unless they get into the whole pedophile thing. You see, in a single sentence, this is the absurdity of a Tom Massie politics. It's so ideologically myopic that it becomes strategically incoherent, and thus it serves only as a force for obstruction. Despite being in Congress for 14 years, Massie has had 0 standalone bills passed into law. 0. He's a messaging specialist. He majors in messaging. And for libertarians, apparently that's good enough. But when it comes to fundamentally transforming our nation into a permanent MAGA populist majority, he has been as obstructionist as the very Democrat sycophants who are so enthusiastically endorsing him today. This is why President Trump wants this guy gone. And given the polls, along with Trump's 97% endorsement success rate, it looks like President Trump is about to get his wish. Gang, if you love what we're building here, now's the time to show it. Scan the QR code and visit the Turley Talks merch store for gear made for courageous patriots who stand for faith, family, and freedom.